Arquette, WCW champion. You're listening to the Potsy and Tino show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings to you its tag team champions of the world. That's right, Tino Gray, Rob Potsy Potchak, the Potsy and Tino Show. Our theme song, as always, is brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. Tino, we've got a special guest in the back. We're not going to bring him on just yet because we always start our show off with a little segment called What's Up With You. So, sir, what's been going on with you?
I've just been working. Spent time with the family this weekend. Picked up mom. Went and saw my 92-year-old grandmother. Checking on her. She's moving a little slower. Starting, dementia starting to kick in. But it was cool. She recognized me. She recognized everybody. I hadn't seen her in about a month or so. So I walked in, and her eyes got big, and she smiled, and I was like, all right, cool. So it was cool that she's still recognizing everybody, moving a little slower, but it's 92. She'll be 93 in December. So other than that, man, I had a pretty good weekend. I can't complain.
Well, I mean, honestly, there's almost no chance I'm going to make it to 93. So, I mean,
Why?
Come on.
I plan on it. I plan on making it, and I look forward to it because then, by the time by the time I hit 70, I'll be old enough to where I'll just be able to. Well, I say what I want to now, but like when you're like 70, 80, you really get to them. They're like, oh, that's just grandpa.
Well, yeah. I've always joked that being a baby or being an old person is kind of like the same shit, right? And what I mean by that is that like you get to wear diapers, so it doesn't matter where you shit or piss, right? You get to say whatever you want, and everybody just looks at you like, oh, you're cute, because you're old, and they're just like, nah, whatever. They can say and do whatever they want, and then pretty much you just go out and you buy the biggest fucking car you can find, right?
That you can't see with the steering wheel.
Exactly.
And you drive down the interstate at 45 miles an hour. People be behind you, blowing the horn. You're like, hey, wait, shut up.
You gotta look through the space between the steering wheel and So Tino, this week we're brought to you once again by our sponsor. Are you sure you want to make comics? Our sponsor, Rob Potsy Potchak.
I didn't even start reading it because I put my copy down when I got home last week, and I think Matthew saw it. He goes, I don't know what he thought it was. He picked it up. He goes, there's no pictures in this. I don't know what he thought it was going to be, but then he put it somewhere. So I just found it. So I need to read it.
So we want to go ahead and say hello to Michael Turner and Chris Barrett. What's going on, gentlemen? Be prepared. We do have a spoiler-filled episode tonight. We will be talking about.
That's not my fault.
We will be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. So if you haven't seen it yet, we'll keep the little logo up there for you, and you can just mute us and then come back. What? It's 4 Roses.
That is.
Yeah, it's good stuff. For cheap stuff, it's actually very good. So what's been going on with me? Not a whole heck of a lot. Next week we go to solicitation for Die Hard. So my comic that obviously is like a Die Hard movie with the Easter Bunny. What that means, because I know what you're going to ask, what does going to solicitation mean? Means that we're going to be sending it into the place where all the copies get sent to, so they can be distributed out to the shops. So this week it's all prep work for that. Next week we go to solicit. When we solicit, it means that we send them all the covers. We give them like the synopsis of what the issue's about, and then they put it in their catalog, which will be in their catalog, I guess, in October. And then it will be out in stores in December. So now official.
So this is, damn, it takes that long because this is almost August.
Yeah. So it goes to them in August, goes to solicitation and actually being in the magazine for it in October, and then they get to order it through December. Now here's what's really cool about it though. We did go. I kind of pushed myself through the space-time continuum this week, because this week was San Diego Comic-Con, and I did make an appearance at San Diego Comic-Con.
virtual.
Yes. Yes, I recorded a video. I actually recorded a video for the intro and everything, and the announcement of the official announcement of Die Hard and what the plan is for it. And we even made sure that like anybody that saw the little video, even though there was nothing really except for like 2 covers shown, it basically said coming December, not for kids, and then KeenSpot made a huge announcement. One all ego Ethan Page is actually writing a comic book called Kids These Days for KeenSpot. So NXT champion Ethan Page, all ego, is writing a comic book for us. I had no idea until I got the panel package, and I sat there and I was like, that's Ethan Page. So then I had to watch his video. So I watched the announcement a day before they actually announced it. But the cool thing about that was because I actually knew who he was, I got to tell the publisher, a little bit more about him and be like, hey, like this kind of wrestler he is. He's NXT World Champion right now. He's kind of on his way, working his way up. So pretty cool stuff. Other than that, I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine on Thursday. I gave everybody a 4-day window.
He cannot help himself.
But I stuck to it. Because normally you sit there and you go, motherfucker. Because I normally go like 3.5 days. And I actually stuck to it, didn't I? Because the only thing that I said to everybody after saying they had 4 days was, do not go on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Do not go on to TikTok, because I don't know if you saw what people on TikTok were doing. They were showing full scenes from the fucking movie.
I didn't. I mean, see, must not have been on my For You page.
I don't know why it was on my For You page, because I started reporting them, because that's copyright infringement. If it said Marvel Entertainment, okay, I leave that one go. But saw the movie, and with that, we're gonna bring on our special guest tonight. You might remember him, Tino, as one of the Primitive Screwheads. But I'm putting this up so that everybody knows we're about to talk spoilers, okay? And let's bring on our special guest. You might remember him, Tony Perrone.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
What's going on? Now, you obviously go by Anthony, but I've known you as Tony Perrone pretty much the entire time I've ever known you. So
I go by lots of names. It's okay.
Perfect. We're bringing you on tonight because you and I have been talking about wanting to do more episodes of Primitive Screwheads a lot, over the years. And even though we don't necessarily get to go see the latest and newest movies, if we actually were to bring back the show and start talking about movies, if we talked about older movies, this guy wouldn't get mad at me, because even though I'd probably be spoiling the movie for anybody that hasn't seen it, they'll be past that moment of moment of tension when you're not allowed to talk.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe even he wants to show up and be on a couple of those episodes. So, gentlemen, I am going to defer to both of you and ask, what's your initial assessment of Deadpool and Wolverine was? Once again, folks, spoiler warning, we are going to talk about spoilers. We maybe not all of them, but if we name drop an actor that you didn't know was in the film, we're warning you now. If we name drop a scene that just made us laugh or something like that, we're letting you know now. Obviously, we're happy to have Tony on so that we can talk about this. And since you're our guest, why don't you go first?
Oh, that's nice. I was going to say Tino can go first since you guys are the hosts. But appreciate it. I mean,
you might be staying here, making me pour this.
I was actually surprised at how long it was. But I loved it.
2 hours, 7 minutes.
Yeah, I thought for sure, because we have a baby now. We have a 7-month-old, and we had mother-in-law looked after her, and we went to bright and early on Sunday at 9:30 in the morning, because we'd already been up since 6:40, 7 o'clock in the morning anyway. So And I thought for sure that we would be out of there by 11:30, maybe 11:40 at the latest, and it ended up being closer to noon. But I mean, I didn't mind that at all. I thought it was a great movie. I mean, Ryan Reynolds just delivers, man. He's not. That's Deadpool's his baby. Like he's not going to put out like crap products. Which I'm also struck by because it's the third. I guess you can call it a trilogy. Which I read that he probably won't do a fourth one, but I mean, if the money's right, till he's 90. You know what I mean? So
till he's 90.
Yeah.
I don't think that they necessarily will make another Deadpool film because I do think that they're going to try to fit him into that PG-13 world.
No, that's no good.
Which actually, I don't think it's a very difficult thing to do, and it's because if you read the comics, very few Deadpool comics actually have foul language in them. So, like the fact that Ryan Reynolds has a foul mouth is one thing, but Ryan Reynolds also has 4 kids,
right?
Fourth one on the way. So, I mean, he understands the need to. I mean, could you imagine if this movie had been PG-13, how much more money it would have done this weekend?
You think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It did $205 million at the box office.
Why do you say that they would have made more money?
Because when I was walking up to the theater, I saw at least 4 kids walking away going, I can't believe they wouldn't let us go see it. The theater.
Oh, the youth.
Because
were they with adults?
No.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So, but think about it this way: a PG-13 film, a 9-year-old could get into it. They don't stop a 9-year-old from going to a movie. But yeah, like so it did 205 million. If it had been PG-13, it probably would have been close to 300.
I like the chemistry. I think him and Hugh Jackman together, it was just kind of reminded me of, like, I guess we would call it a buddy cop movie kind of thing. The way they interacted and they played off each other was perfect. I liked some of the callbacks. I like the breaking the fourth wall. I like when because that Lady Deadpool was his wife.
Well, the voice was his wife. His wife is very pregnant.
But that too. But I also like the fact too, like when they were doing something, they were fighting. He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna tell Blake." Just little things like that. If you didn't know that they were sneaking into the movies, little bits and pieces like that was awesome.
He did that to Hugh Jackman.
There were so many of those moments that go under the radar. Like, for example, when he's talking at the TVA and he sits there and goes, "That guy's checking out my ass right now."
Yeah.
That was a callback to the original Avengers movie when Tony Stark goes, "He's playing Galaga." It's a callback to that stuff. Like, I sent both of you one today where Henry Cavill, I didn't even recognize it when I watched the movie, but when he went shh, like he does in Mission Impossible, it was done on purpose. It's those types of things that you're not just gonna have to watch this movie twice.
But even when he walked into the Wolverine and it was Henry Cavill, he made the comment, "Oh, they finally letting you into the." Little things like that. Like you said, it goes under if you don't know.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he roasted Hugh Jackman. Like, he was like, "You've let yourself go since the divorce." I was like, "Ooh."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh
but
my God."
that was specifically so they could go ahead and show off the Hugh Jackman abs at the end of the film, because
that was hilarious.
Yeah,
that was I laughed so hard, man.
Off, and he goes,
his shirt just blew up. Like,
he's just like,
yeah.
Are you fucking serious? Where did those come from? Okay, so what was your guys' favorite scene?
Oh my God.
I mean, I really like the part at the end where they're fighting all the other pools, but actually I think when Peter Pool shows up and he's like got chemistry with the TVA woman, and then the what's his Paradox is like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Like,
because he's the one that doesn't recognize that Peter's finally picking up a lady. Yeah.
I think there were a couple, then maybe not favorite parts, but that ugly ass dog.
Oh yeah.
Remember that dog, man. And then he was like planning on how he's gonna kill the other Deadpool so he can get the dog. And so at the end when they're fighting the other Deadpool, nice pull. He's holding him as a shield and goes, "Deadpool, say it with me. You're gonna make it." I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
But his head gets blown off.
And Wolverine's like, "You did that on purpose." No, I didn't. I really thought he was indestructible.
So I'm gonna tell you my favorite scene was when Wolverine actually goes and pulls the mask over his face, and Deadpool looks at him and goes, "They really fucking did it for you, didn't they?" You know, like it's like what? Yeah. And then if you notice, he kept that on for like almost the rest of the movie. You know, like, but yeah, when it wasn't just and here's what's funny about it: there was pictures of the mask being on him. And everybody was like, "Oh no, they're fake because the mask is clean and the entire outfit is dirty." Mm-hmm. And yet he pulled the mask on, and that mask was clean as shit. It was like perfect, you know.
There's a couple like I like when they were fighting all the other Deadpools, and then when they were in the woods and they got pissed off and they're just fighting in the minivan. They never got out the van. They're just fighting in the van, and then they cut to the next scene and you see Wolverine's passed out and look at Deadpool. He's all wrapped up in the seatbelt. I'm like, it's just stuff like that. Like they fall all night.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing about that, and you know, obviously the movie was rated R for language, blood, gore, intense violence, all that stuff. But they still got away with probably a lower budget than a lot of these other films do, because a lot of that action all happened off screen, like the bus. When you're just seeing blood splatter going up, but you're not, and you might see a hand go up against the thing like a horror movie or whatever, but you're not actually seeing what he's doing to all of those Deadpools. And I did love, though, that Nice Pool's the only one without regenerative abilities. Yes. And then all of a sudden they're like, "All right, we just made it through this entire horde of Deadpools." And then they all start getting up and it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. That and then, you know, okay, they brought the chick back. I can't remember her name. When they started
X-23.
Huh?
X-23.
Well, not yet. X-23, but the other, she's a superhero.
So Elektra.
Elektra. They brought Elektra back, but Blade, I think, surprised me. What
is
Blade doing here?
Yeah.
Well,
it was awesome.
Is he Marvel?
Oh, yeah, Blade. Yeah, Marvel. I'm trying to remember. And his property was owned by Fox before Marvel got it back.
That's right.
Couple things, by the way. This is why I told everybody not to go on Twitter. Wesley Snipes was the one that posted that shit. He posted when Ryan Reynolds invited everybody onto stage at San Diego Comic-Con on Thursday. So, like, you knew he was in the movie.
I didn't see that.
If you were on there, you saw.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
But when he shows up, and Wesley Snipes had a couple great lines in it when he's like, "I never liked him." Yeah. Or I always hated him, and Ryan Reynolds is like in every universe, you know. But and it's because they literally had a 20-year feud, because of Blade Trinity, because Wesley Snipes was method acting, and Ryan Reynolds was trying to get him to cut up. He was trying to pop him like the Undertaker.
Yeah.
And then like another line he said where he's like, it's like skating uphill or something like that. And apparently that's a line from the first Blade movie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and nobody understood what it was meant to be, except for the fact that it was against Deacon Frost.
Yeah,
I figured it was a callback to Blade. I like that part when he's like, "I'm the only Blade," and then Deadpool's like,
or when they were in the Deadland, they had the Fox thing, they had all the different things in the jungle.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, the fact that apparently someone at the TVA actually like used the stick to sit there and put the entire 20th Century Fox thing into the wasteland. I thought that was hilarious. We got some other amazing cameos in this. Obviously, Daphne Keane was actually in one of the videos before the movie came out. She played X-23.
One of the
and the story behind that, by the way, I don't know if you guys heard it. Apparently, she went to Kevin Feige and said, "I want to go to the premiere." And Feige was like, "We haven't introduced you as being part of the movie, so we can't invite you to the premiere if you're not in one of the trailers." And she's like, "Well, I don't care if you put me in." So they put her in the trailer so that she could go to the premiere.
I did notice that when they got knocked into that shop, it said Liefeld's last something or other. I was like,
Liefeld's left feet.
Yeah.
Or only feet. Because obviously the joke was always Rob Liefeld doesn't know how to draw feet. Which by the way isn't just a Rob Liefeld thing. It's an all '90s comic book artist thing. Like none of them know how to draw feet. Todd McFarlane was the only one that did because his Spider-Man drawings always had a giant foot like right in your face. Where do we go from like okay, so the big question coming up now is that one of the major plot points is that when Logan died, that universe started to die off with him, right? So when that happened, like, are we now because Tony, you've heard the news from San Diego Comic-Con about the Russo brothers coming back for two more movies, right?
No,
so you're
I haven't been paying attention. No, I mean I've been kind of busy.
So can I ruin something for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Do you want to ruin it for him?
You can do it anyway.
Robert Downey Jr. is coming back.
Oh yeah. Okay, I saw that.
Okay, but he's not supposedly coming back as Tony Stark.
Right. He's Victor Von Doom. Yeah.
Right. So I guess the real question is, are they trying to make sure that the main MCU doesn't fall apart by bringing another Tony Stark from another universe into the current Marvel universe?
I don't know. It's so meta. It's a mess.
Yeah. The internet is not exactly happy about Robert Downey Jr.'s return, by the way. A bunch of people have been posting pictures of the death scene from Logan and the death scene from Endgame and saying now neither of these mean anything. And
I mean, that's a comic book though.
Well, and like all the comic book people are like, welcome to the world of comics.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But they do still mean something. Like
sure.
we knew that Endgame was going to be the end of that era of Marvel movies. I mean, you lost Scarlett Johansson's character, you lost Chris Evans' character, you lost Robert Downey Jr.'s character. So the only one from the only one that was actually still played by the same person that made it through all the way to the end of those was Thor.
Right.
And he's a god, so it kind of makes a little bit more sense. But so the end of this film, you're left with Logan, Deadpool, Daphne Keene's character, and a slew of others, Peter and Blind Al and whatever. But are we saying that those are the characters that we may see again now because that's Universe 10,005, but wherever that Logan came from, he just let that universe go
Well, they told him at the end, it's like you can't go back.
Well, everybody had already died in that universe that he loved anyway, so I don't think he cared about that. And I don't think as fans we care about that either, because why would we want to go to that universe and not see anything?
Right.
So what the sacred timeline thing with Deadpool at the beginning actually talking to Jon Favreau's characters, like the only thing to me that really doesn't fit in.
Huh.
Because like when you think about it, we would have seen him in that, and wouldn't he have been Foggy Nelson from the Daredevil movies? Like,
oh yeah, I don't know. God, dude, it's so crazy, man. There's so much to. I mean, it's just like it's Crisis basically. You know what I mean?
Yes, especially even like the TV one where they had Brandon Routh actually playing both the Atom and Superman.
Right.
In the same thing.
Yeah. So,
all right, did anything disappoint you guys about this film?
No, I mean, and I think also just forgot to mention that the intro is the best intro of any Marvel movie to date.
Well, yeah, but it used their entire budget. Like,
that's fine.
Did you get TikTok of the dude that's not even Ryan dancing? I sent you that TikTok.
No, it's not Ryan Reynolds dancing.
Yeah,
no.
They actually showed the actual dancer, and he like after the movie came out, he was excited. And he did the move. So a lot of people were pissed off, like, oh.
But if you go on YouTube and you look up music video, it now says it's Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's see, what does it say?
Because I did like the line that Deadpool uses there, where he actually goes, "Well, I guess we are teaming up then, pal." And he just grabs the skeleton and starts breaking the bones off. And
it says "Bye official video from Deadpool and Wolverine." Like they went back and changed it on YouTube. It's so funny.
That's funny. So I did have one minor disappointment in the entire thing. I know, right? Like I gave the movie an 8.9 out of 10, by the way.
Right.
My one, and when I say minor disappointment, there was one Fox movie that was not actually represented at all. So one of the franchises not represented at all out of all the Marvel stuff. New Mutants. And it would have been awesome to see Magic with the Buster Sword in the wasteland.
What New Mutants, was that the one where they were like in the asylum? Is that what that was? Yeah. I didn't watch that because
Well, Magic has the Buster Sword, and Danny Moonstar has the giant like psychic bear. So I mean, like two really cool things in the whole movie. But like Magic with the Buster Sword in the wasteland would have been awesome.
Yeah.
So
that's because
all the other franchises got touched. I guess Legion didn't get touched either, but that was a TV series, so I didn't really add that one together. But yeah, okay, Tony, what did you give the movie?
I mean, I think it's my favorite. It's my favorite out of all the three. That's for sure. And now, I mean, after I buy this one, I'll own all three. And I haven't bought, like I said, I don't buy physical copies anymore. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. I mean, it's a 9 out of 10. You know, yeah, I'm not gonna give it a 10, but I give it a 9 out of 10 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it played in the sandbox really well. I think that Marvel got to dip their toe in with an F-bomb in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and then they just said fuck it and just went straight into the deep end of the film. They took full advantage of the rated R rating.
Sure.
Because he kept saying he would make reference like fuck Disney. I mean, he was going at it. So yeah.
And for those that might not know who all of the different Wolverine variants were, they actually gave you the really short one, which still played by Hugh Jackman, just shrunk down. They gave you, I guess it was X-Men 252, the Wolverine that's actually being crucified on the giant X with all the skulls below him. They gave you kind of an opposite of what really happened because the Hulk in the orange and brown would have actually more likely been the Wolverine would have been the Wolverine that we would have gotten. Like the way he was wearing the yellow and blue is actually the original costume, so that would have been the one from the Hulk fight.
Right.
But the brown and orange, actually, I thought that was really cool that they snuck that one in there. Tony asked me today what was the one where he didn't have the one arm and he had the big hair. That was the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, which is another great one where Cyclops actually blows his hand off because they hate each other.
I also like when he found this one and he was so drunk and he went to fight you like that and he only came out and goes, "So you got whiskey there?"
Yeah. What did he call it? He called it something specific, but then he said happens with Logan's over 50. But yeah, there were those. Obviously, the Cavalry showed up and actually did the Mission Impossible arms.
I like that. They also, on top of doing callbacks, talking about callbacks to the movies, where X23, they got ready to fight, and she put on the sunglasses. I mean, you got her the sunglasses from the Logan movie.
Yes,
she put those on before she got ready.
The ones that she stole from the convenience store before she actually started talking.
So I'm like, it was good.
It was.
Now, is it true that Charles? I didn't know Charles Xavier had a twin sister. Was that just for this movie, or is that
no? So that goes back to Grant Morrison's run of the X-Men. Surprisingly enough, when the X-Men comics all went to black leather outfits, so kind of an interesting thing there. In the comics, Charles Xavier, this is how gruesome they got back then, actually took his umbilical cord and wrapped it around her neck to kill her so that she wouldn't be born. Because apparently he already knew she was going to have mutant powers somehow. I don't know. But yeah, so she does exist in the X-Men comics today. She hadn't been used since then, but they bring her back every so often. She was a good a great character for this movie specifically, because obviously even how they got out of the wasteland and how Logan actually sat there and had to break it down to her, like what would have happened if Charles knew about her. I thought was.
I like that she had the chair.
Yes.
And then she had the Doctor Strange. She was able to do his. Oh look, it's Sparkly Tunnel.
Sparkly Tunnel.
How about when you thought it was going to be Captain America, and then he goes flame on, like, oh my god! And
that too.
And of course, Deadpool looks and goes, "What the shit?"
Yeah.
And then when he told her all the dude said, because I've never said any of that. So at the end of the movie, he goes, "Yeah," he played it back, and he said it.
The stinger, yeah, that was classic, man.
And again, we're throwing spoilers out there, but Chris Evans actually said the only person that he would do this for was Ryan Reynolds, and he was like, because he's got the Midas touch. I knew it was going to be gold as soon as he said, "Hey, would you come back as Johnny Storm?" The whole time though, when he's standing there and he's like, "We can actually do this. We can," and he's like, "Yes, sir. We totally can." He's doing things. He's saluting him and everything because he can see his face. We still can't. And of course, they made sure that he did have some red and blue on the outfit, even though obviously Johnny Storm's outfit is just blue. But when he said "flame on" and you actually saw the Thor costume, I was like, "Oh!" That one was good. But okay, we haven't talked about one specific cameo. And it's from the one character that never actually happened in the X-Men universe of movies, because he was supposed to get his own movie. And then for like 10 years, they just kept putting it off. And I'm talking about Channing Tatum as Gambit.
Yeah.
Taylor Kitsch had played Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine. And Channing Tatum actually said, "Well, I was born in Louisiana, so I can actually do the Creole accent. So, now that I've signed on to do it, we'll see exactly how well I do the accent." And Ryan Reynolds sitting there and going, "Who is your dialect coach? Indians?" It was so great, but I mean, seeing him as Gambit wearing the old school Jim Lee outfit was fucking bomb.
Yeah.
But the thing I didn't like about it was his hair.
He looked bigger. It made his face.
Channing Tatum's a big dude.
I know, but it just made. I don't know. It just looked weird. It took me a minute.
So Gambit, the character, is a little more slender, but like the fact that he was wearing the purple, blue, and of course the trench coat.
At first, when they showed him, because him and Cena look so much alike, I was like, "Fuck John Cena!"
John Cena's in everything.
John Cena. Oh no, that's Channing Tatum.
But him sitting there and like every time he'd open his mouth and Deadpool couldn't understand him, and he's like,
"I couldn't understand what the fuck did he even say."
I know.
What do you do? I invented the cut to make them go boom. Like,
well,
okay.
except that seemed to me like it was a callback to the Pete Holmes skit where it was like the Professor X is firing the different people from because also one of the lines that I did really like from him was like when he goes, "I don't even know if I was actually born. I think I was just always here." And it's like, because the movie never got made. So it wasn't a fourth wall break because no one's allowed to do that except for Deadpool, but it was right there for it. I did like that the film obviously had Paradox as the overall villain, and since he didn't have powers or anything, he was never actually going to be the one that like gets cut up from everything,
Right.
I like that almost everything in the movie was about redemption for Wolverine, but it was also about belonging for Deadpool. Like the fact that he wanted to get back to his world, that he didn't want it to end. The only part there that I didn't really understand was that Deadpool in the minivan sits there and says, "These are the 9 people that mean anything in this world to me, and I don't know how to save them, but you do." And it's like, he doesn't know how to do anything.
Well, no, I think that meant because Deadpool said himself, he's a hired merc, so he's more about killing people. Where Wolverine was a hero, so he probably knows how to save people.
But not that Wolverine. That Wolverine wasn't. So the only thing I could think of there was his redemption arc would have made him worthy of said being the hero. The only thing after that I think was missing was Dogpool killing something. Just because like all the other Deadpools were killing things.
He was killing my appetite. I couldn't eat no more popcorn. I'm like, every time he came with a day, I started looking at him, stop it.
So there's a cut scene, by the way, of like a blooper reel of where they're sitting there and she's doing the licking of his face, and it goes on for like 6 minutes, and all of a sudden you just see him go. You just see Ryan Reynolds walk off set because he's like, I can't do it anymore. So, Tony, want to really thank you for being here with us tonight. I know that you and I've already said if we decide that we want to sit there and talk about the film more, maybe even after seeing it a second time, let me know. We have talked in the past about bringing back the Screwheads. I think I'd be down for an episode here and there every so often. Especially since last weekend San Diego Comic-Con. Lots of stuff you probably need to check out and hear about if you haven't already done it. Marvel has 3 movies on the books for next year, I believe, and that's if Blade actually happens. But it's Brave New World, the new Captain America movie, which looks phenomenal. By the way,
it does. Looks really cool.
Harrison Ford, Red Hulk, that one.
Mackie,
the Red Hulk in that one. Then you've got Fantastic Four, First Steps, which they start filming it tomorrow, and it's supposed to come out next May. And then I think there's one other one on the books for next year. But now we've got Avengers Doomsday for the 2026, and we've got Avengers Secret Wars for 2027, both directed by the Russo brothers. So that they're in good hands. So
I'm worried about Fantastic Four. I don't know.
Why?
It's cursed.
Oh, the franchises. The franchise is pretty cursed. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Chris Evans appearing in Deadpool 3 might give it a little bit of that. That
rub.
That little rub that they need to, in wrestling terms, get over. So, but always a pleasure, man. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
We've got to do the rest of the show. We've got to talk about SummerSlam. I know you're not really a wrestling fan. Otherwise, I'd have you on to do that too.
Sure.
All right.
We'll
see you next time.
Later.
Cool.
All right, Tino. I can take this. I can take this little banner down, and we can start talking about other stuff. You asked about the comments out there. We have Mr. Helios out there. Mr. Helios actually is apparently wearing his Wolverine outfit tonight. That's what he told me.
Why?
I don't know.
Like just home by himself in his Wolverine outfit.
Chris Barrett says that he does think that they can do Deadpool in a PG-13 MCU.
Yeah.
I've already said I think they can easily because you just remove the language, and most of the time you can get away with that kind of violence in a horror film. And Chris Barrett also was saying Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane when it comes to not being able to draw feet. And then of course he was talking about that he probably hadn't heard about Victor Von Stark.
Okay.
So, by the way, if I can, with the Robert Downey Jr. news, I am going to say that I do think it's a ruse.
Yeah, you did. You said that.
I'm calling it now that I think that it's a way to make sure that when they're filming those movies, nobody sits there and goes, "Oh, why's Robert Downey Jr. on set every day?" Mm-hmm. And it allows them to actually break it down as this is going to be the next big Marvel movie. And I think while he may be a Tony Stark wearing the Doctor Doom armor, I think it's going to be a misdirect, and I think he's going to take that armor off and he's going to be Tony Stark underneath that. Could be a different one. I don't like, just like how the character said, I'm willing to go back and fix everybody that disappeared, but I'm not willing to change anything that happened already. I think he's, the character, the actor Robert Downey Jr. is probably still thinking, I don't want anything to take away from when I played Tony Stark in Endgame and died in that film. So, but money talks, and the Russo.
Well, I think they proved in Deadpool they can pull from other timelines. I guess if that's what they're going to do to bring him back, they can pull another Iron Man or Tony Stark from another timeline.
I think what they're realizing is that by having the multiverse, the best thing they can do with it, and everyone out there can chime in with this too. I think that it's a way to bring those universes together, but they're going to have to put them all together.
Yeah.
If you're going to continue making these, because they want to make X-Men films. So how do you make an X-Men film and you don't have the ability to see Tony Stark in it, or Spider-Man, or and Spider-Man could actually be pulled out of it if Sony sits there and says we don't want to work with Marvel on this anymore. So I mean, but all of the other ones now are under the same umbrella. So now it's how do you get them all under the umbrella?
Ant-Man didn't die, did he? I don't know if I asked that. You know why I asked that, right? Because of their hideout.
Well. Should I put that banner back up?
Yeah, because I forgot to ask while Tony was still on. The whole hideout was Ant-Man, the enlarged.
It was a giant man, so I'm going to assume that since there were hundreds of Deadpools down there, there are some Ant-Men that have not made it out. Just like there were tons of Lokis and everything else. It was a little disappointing there were no Lokis in this.
Yeah,
it happened in the same place.
But they didn't have Thor either, so.
Well, but Thor wasn't down there.
What I'm saying, I guess they couldn't, have one of everybody. That would.
Well, no. But Thor, by the way, Thor doesn't know that Loki's alive. So,
okay.
So you run into that too. So, all right, we now are going to. Do you want to talk about Blood and Guts at all?
I want to hit the PLE first because there's not too much about Blood and Guts I want to talk about. But when we do the PLE, the Summerslam predictions, I think as we go through the matches, I want to talk about what happened on the Raw and SmackDown that could affect the outcome of these matches. So we can all do it under the same umbrella. Talk about everything.
Sure.
And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So
all right. Intercontinental Championship: Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker versus Ilya Dragunov. Is Dragunov actually in that match?
Is it a three-way?
I don't think it's supposedly an actual.
Because he tried to kill Dragunov last week, so maybe that's how Dragunov gets in it. Maybe it happened tonight.
So it is. Well, this was before tonight, so I guess they're assuming it's going to be added. So all right, let's first start with if it's just a singles match between Sami and Braun.
So Braun has bullied his way into this match, right? So for the longest time, Sami beat Braun fair and square the last match they had. So he's trying to go on. And so, him and Dragunov were doing their thing. Braun managed to, attack, mess up that match. But I think, and I love the way they did this, when Sami was doing his in-ring interview, doing his promo, and Braun came in and said what he said, and turned like he was leaving, and turned back around and speared the shit out of Sami.
And the camera guy couldn't even catch it because it was too fast.
Yeah. So I think Sami is over enough, and he's one of those, and we talk about this a lot of times. Sami doesn't need a belt, right?
Sure.
Because he's over. Braun is now, while Braun is good and he's making away from himself, I think that belt will help him level up more. What do you think? Do you think Braun needs his belt?
Well, okay, so I think I finally understand why Sami beat him the first time. Because one, you wanted to get some of these losses for the new NXT generation people out of the way first, because you didn't want to have another Gunther, right? And it's okay to have that, but
because didn't Kevin Owens come up and win on his first?
Yeah, but I mean, he won on his first night against John Cena, but which was a shock when that happened. But no, what I mean differently is that like Gunther had 2 losses in NXT his entire time there.
Yeah.
And then he had one count out loss to Chad Gable before he lost to Sami Zayn. That was it.
He's like 2 years. He went as long as Roman.
666 days, so almost 2 years. 2 years would be 730 days. But you, if you get stuck in a situation where you suddenly have someone on this massive win streak, you don't have the easy way out of getting out of the win streak at that point, because it has to do something more for the person that beats him.
Yes.
Right? Which Sami, I don't think really got a good rub off of Gunther from it, because Sami was already over.
Yeah.
The difference, though, is that after Gunther, you needed a legitimate champion again, because you needed to continue to build the strap for whoever's going to get it next, right? So giving it to Sami, having Sami beat Chad a couple times, now having beat Braun, when he finally does lose to Braun, Sami will have at least kept the shine on the title. Agree?
Agreed. And I think while elevating Breaker, it'll also, because he's he's not Gunther, but I mean he is
Dragunov.
No, I'm saying he's not Gunther. Like he's not gonna carry it for, you know what I'm saying. But I think he has the it factor enough to elevate it more. You know what I mean? Like you said, you got Sami elevating it. You put it on Braun, it'll elevate him, but he'll also elevate that title. So whoever beats him will get. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, and I totally agree. And in fact, the way that they're also pushing Dragunov as like an unstoppable, like even though he's damn near dead, like he's still gonna go and he's still gonna drop that punch on you.
So I see Breaker winning, and it's gonna be him and Dragunov next.
Probably.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Kaiser, we haven't seen Vinci in a while, so I mean we could see them come back and cause some disruption in that scene.
Oh, I'd love to see a Kaiser Dragunov match.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
I think Vinci's kind of like the Marty Jannetty, and I hate to say it, I think Kaiser behind Gunther is Kaiser.
Well, I think Kaiser can stand out on his own.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure about Vinci. I haven't seen enough Vinci.
Although when I look at Kaiser and I look at Dragunov, I see almost the same guy. So like someone's gonna have to come back with a different look at some point. Mm-hmm. They almost have the same haircut. Like Dragunov's a little bit longer or whatever.
I think their personas and their characters are different. They look the same, but their characters are different.
Sure. But like we still get people sitting there going, oh well, Tiffany Stratton looks like this character.
I mean, you got Goldberg. Everybody's like, oh, that's
just a more muscular Steve Austin.
Yeah. So yeah.
But all right,
they're always going to have people with the same look per se.
So with the Braun Breaker stuff, I want to say I see him winning this match, but like I almost look at this SummerSlam card as like one where for the first time ever, I'm wanting to sit there and say new champ, new champ, new champ, new champ, new champ, and you can't everybody be a new champ.
It's very rare. There have been PLEs where they've done that, but And SummerSlam, one of the big four.
Yeah, one of the only two you can do it at is SummerSlam and WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And SummerSlam is, the summer reset so that they can, I just, okay, so.
I see Sami dropping it. Now, if Dragunov is in this match.
Who knows? Well,
Sami's dropping it, but dropping it to who? That's what I'm saying. If Dragunov will it be Dragunov or will it be Breaker? You know what I mean?
Oh, if it was Dragunov that sneaks in a victory here and he gets it by pinning Sami, that would piss Braun off so much. Mm-hmm. That would add so much more fuel and allow Sami out.
Or if Sami haluva kicks Braun and they do the whole throw Sami out and
only reason why I don't see that happening is because that's how Ethan Page won the NXT title, and I don't see them doing that again. But people that watch NXT don't necessarily watch main roster and vice versa.
I think your way probably, because Braun would lose. That would cause Braun to lose it even because right now he's on that tearing shit up because he's not getting his way. He's not getting so if Dragunov did come out of that, like Braun hits Sami with the spear and Dragunov somehow comes in and picks up the win.
But I currently, if it's just a singles match, Braun wins.
Braun wins.
If it's a triple threat,
Yeah.
I do think Dragunov's the one that gets the victory, and I think it's a better go.
Yeah.
So we good on that one?
We'll get on that one.
All right. Next up. Yeah. Logan Paul versus L.A. Knight. Yeah.
I think it's LA Knight's time.
Okay.
Logan, and you know, when he first won it, I didn't like it, but you know, listen, you're like, yeah, but it in my rational brain, it makes sense because Logan's got all the different, you know, social medias. He can put more eyes on the product, but I think now the eyes are on the product. You know what I'm saying? Now he's barely there defending that thing. I think they need, and that was my problem with Roman. That was my problem with Brock. Logan's not there all the time defending it.
There is a difference though. And again, it's because he's still doing his impulsive podcast where you actually, like, if you watch the video of it, the championship's there.
Mm-hmm.
He's always representing the brand, which is something when Brock was gone.
Yeah.
You know, Brock was like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm gonna go wrestle a bear in like Saskatchewan.
I'm gonna go shoot a moose and barbecue it.
Yeah, exactly. You want to do that with me, Sammy?
Yeah, right.
You know, same with Roman. Like you never see Roman on social media. You never see, you know, like you would see him do the appearances for when he's got matches coming.
Mm-hmm.
And you would see, and not even on SmackDown, you would see him on Jimmy Kimmel, or you'd see him on the Tonight Show, or but like, which is good because Roman's that over that you can do that. It's crazy to think that he is that over. Logan does nothing but promote WWE. 100% agree.
And I agree with you, Chris. I agree, but I think
it is time for LA.
Yeah.
It is time for that belt to be defended on a regular basis on the program.
And and again, we talked about this. And it pissed you off at WrestleMania a couple years ago. Sammy was so hot. You were like, Sammy should have been in that match for the world title, but they put the tag team title. LA Knight is hot, right? So they promised LA Knight this championship. He's had championships matches and lost championship. So I'm scared that if he loses again.
Well, he's already not as hot as he was. You know, he's not as hot as he was at Money in the Bank last year. You know,
they're wasting him. You know what I'm saying? It's a waste, I think.
It's not, so it's that good problem, bad problem to have thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is that they have too many people that are too hot. And you know, I heard Nick Nemeth talking about it, formerly Dolph Ziggler, actually talking about how there were times that Vince McMahon backstage would be like, why'd you give such a good promo out there? I need your match to be down here. I don't need it to be up here. And like, but I don't think that's the case anymore.
To do.
I don't think that's the case. No. They're supposed to know their role and shut their mouth. But you're right.
You want to be
as a professional wrestler / sports entertainer, you want to be at the top of the card and make the most money. Totally get it. Totally understand and 100% agree. But to hear that he would actually get told that, and this is Dolph Ziggler, two-time world champion, bump machine, like
because he wasn't Vince's, he was too small. Now, if Cena or Lesnar went out there and their promos were appearing, their matches done, Vince wouldn't have said shit.
Sure,
agreed.
Sure, yeah.
Okay,
but you know, to hear that and to know that that's definitely not the industry now.
Right.
I mean,
Triple H has changed. Yeah.
Maybe some people in AEW.
Okay.
Maybe even some people that are in WWE that don't realize how to do the WWE way of doing things yet.
That's why they're in NXT.
Or they're in tag teams when they used to be singles wrestlers.
Yeah. All right, I give you that.
You know, so you see it from time to time, and people like us can see it and go, "Oh, it's my Facebook message. Someone just did something on there." Which, unfortunately, because I've got Facebook open in the background, it will do. But there, that's gone now. So we used to see it a lot. You know, like you'd never see it from The Miz because he was always trying to get himself there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but Would you see it from a Goldberg? Would you see it from because they were already making top guy money. They didn't need top guy match.
Right.
You know, Goldberg came in, you're winning the title. Oh, okay. Really? Darn it. You know, like whatever. But it's a good problem, bad problem to have, because like you get so behind one guy that you go, they need to push him to the moon. They need to make LA Knight world champion. And if LA Knight was world champion in WWE right now,
maybe not world, like I said, not world.
Which is why the U.S. title is the perfect time.
Yes.
And getting it off of Logan Paul puts the most eyes possible on him winning it, which could actually be a higher elevator back to that.
It's kind of like what you said with having. It means more, just like when Sammy won against Gunther. If it's LA has been trying, he finally takes it off of Logan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and obviously they've shown that this has been a long process and long-term storytelling thing. You know, this has been since what, SummerSlam of last year?
And a lot of people don't like that, but I like the slow burn and the build. I didn't back when Vince towards the end, before Triple H took over, and we talked about this. It's continuity. Like they would do something, and then they would get to the end that quick, and then they would start something else, and they would get to the end. They never took the time to let it breathe, to let it.
I heard a really good line about that today. I heard something, I don't know if it was Chris Van Vliet podcast, whatever, but they basically said the last 2 or 3 years of Vince McMahon running things, there was no continuity to anything.
Right.
It was ratings are slipping. We're going to lose our TV deal. I need to do whatever I can to sit here and just get, and that's that's why you'd have the what do they call it when they would bring someone from SmackDown over to the wild card?
Yeah.
The wild card this week, and it's like,
they would hot potato the title. I hated that.
Well, so here's the interesting thing about that is that when there's only one title, you can't do that because you've got to keep the prestige up. When there's 2 titles at like mid-card title or whatever, you can hot potato it a little bit. You don't want a 24/7 championship the title, but
unless it's R-Truth.
I mean, but that title will never be back.
Oh no.
You know, and if it is, it'll just be because R-Truth is finally going into the Hall of Fame and he puts it on the stage, and then someone tries to pin him for it that night, like a Gerald Briscoe or something.
Awesome.
So now though, obviously Triple H is thinking 6 months down the line, you know, but he's also interweaving some storylines, but they're still not interweaving them like they used to. I would love to see 6 different wrestlers going after the Intercontinental Championship.
I think too. Triple H is still, and he's been a year? How long has he been in control now?
Full control since July of last year, so it's a full year.
So I think he's still trying.
But it was a whole other year that he was and wasn't, and was and wasn't, and you know.
So I still think I think that will come, but I think he's still trying to establish people and trying to get his feet under him. I think that will come back. Because when they did that, remember, Triple H was in that Attitude Era. He saw how that worked. So I think he is, like you said, right now he's thinking 6 months ahead. So I think he is slowly but surely getting back to that. It might, you know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say it's not going to happen.
Well, I would also say that's why, you know, like we like the really long-term story. And I'm not saying really long-term.
Yeah.
But a 6-month feud is great. But, you know, like, we thought that when Cody won the world title, he was going to be wrestling every week.
Mm-hmm.
He's had like 4 defenses that we've seen.
Yeah, but think of all the storylines he's in right now.
Sure.
He's got so many different people coming at him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm cool with that, you know, because he's, you know, but they are still continuously using him. Yes, he's only wrestled 4 defenses, but he's on every week. Well, like he's in something every week.
Well, like Gunther was completely written off of television for the month after he won the King of the Ring.
Yeah.
Now he's back in the picture because we know what his story is.
Yes.
Which is fine. I'm okay with that. But it would have been nice to at least see him have a match every so often to remind us that he's still there. Yeah. You know, and it's almost like there's too many stories and not enough wrestling. And which is funny because if you look at AEW, there's too much wrestling, not enough stories.
Yeah.
So it's a knock both ways. So, all right. When we look at this, we go LA Knight.
LA Knight.
Okay. So next up, this says Liv Morgan, Women's World Champion versus Rhea Ripley.
I do want to tell. So last week, Rhea's in the ring. She does a promo. She's all pissed off at Dom, so she calls Daisy Dukes because that's what she was wearing.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
She doesn't want a girl. He doesn't want a girl that looks like, or gorgeous men like Dom don't want a girl like you. They want a girl like, and she did the twirl, and wowzers.
Yeah. So yeah. So
by the way, folks, if our internet looks like it's cutting out, I apologize. Hopefully you're still getting all the words. I do see that okay, we're back and we should be running fine now.
So I'm like, yeah, I lost my train of thought for a second. But
exactly.
Yeah.
But
Dom's like, no, get out of my life. I don't want you da 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 da. Liv goes away crying. I think it's a setup. I think what's going to happen Saturday, because remember, everybody else except Damien, all the other Judgment Day are behind Rhea because are behind Liv because Liv helped them get the tag team belt.
Gave them the PlayStation 5. Which
so I think she's taking over.
Which tonight, by the way, they're in their clubhouse. And the PlayStation 5 is gone.
Oh shit! All right, yeah.
And you just see the tag team guys. They're like, what happened here? And you just see Mommy go, you know exactly what happened here.
Okay.
and sorry for ruining that for you, but it's not a match or anything or anything special.
So Dom's going to turn on her.
Yes.
But the question is. Do they make it look like an accident until Monday, or do they make it obvious that he turned on her? I'm asking you. Because there's other matches that the accidental betrayal could happen, like the CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. It's tough. Like, I would rather. You know what I mean? Do they make it obvious, or they make it look like, oh my god, I'm sorry, Mommy?
So I would rather. It's just a instant, we're done, blah, blah, blah. But it being the WWE, the only thing that I worry about is this week and next week, WWE's on Sci-Fi. Mm-hmm. They're not even on their regular channel, right? So by doing it on Sci-Fi rather than doing it on
a pay-per-view
on the PLE, you run the risk of less people seeing it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, WWE's already proven that they can go off the air and people are going to go immediately to social media to find out what happened as the show went off the air, which makes them money. Mm-hmm. Because if you're doing 20 million hits on one post, you're getting paid.
Yep.
You know? So it's pretty interesting.
So what do you think?
I still think it happens at SummerSlam.
I know what's going to happen at SummerSlam. My question
I think it's going to be like
it'll be obvious that he did it on purpose at SummerSlam. He obviously turns on Mommy at SummerSlam. I guess is my question.
I just changed my mind.
Or do you think he makes like, oh my god, it was an accident? Like he slides the belt in. If you don't know who he slides it into, and Liv gets it and hits Mommy with it.
I think that's more likely now that I'm thinking about it, because I think on Monday night, the Judgment Day has an entire family party. Not party, but they have like family court. Kind of like, remember when they did Bloodline Court?
Yeah.
I think that they'll do something like that, and it'll be about Dominic. And just as Damian Priest is getting ready to rule on it or something, Finn and JD with his big fucking head sit there and hit Damian.
But that's Damian.
No. This would be all at the same time. So you get the new Judgment Day where it's Liv, Dominic, and Balor and JD all beating down Mommy and Priest at the same time. And then Priest and Mommy, you know, I don't think they necessarily stay together, but they watch each other's backs while they're going through this feud.
Okay.
I think that that's a highly likely possibility. And yes, it does require both. But right now, they're both being booked as like baby faces.
Yes.
Because I think the other part of that whole scenario does include Damian Priest. So if you have all the members of the Judgment Day out there, and you have Liv sit there and come out, and she's like, ha, and they all leave with her.
See, I'm thinking,
But hold on. You have Priest who may lose his title.
I think they cause him to lose it.
All of a sudden, they're sitting there going, well, you're not the champion anymore, so you're definitely not in charge of us. And that's like, you know, causes tension between, and all of a sudden, before you know it, it's like, who's gonna, and then finally, like, someone hits someone else.
Okay.
So that's how you get both of them out of the Judgment Day, like, quickly.
So we agree that Liv keeps the title.
I think so. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Bayley versus Nia Jax. Wow, that just caused a lot of dead air.
Because I'm trying to think. Because while I don't think Tiffany will cash in now, I think Nia beats Bayley, and Tiffany will eventually cash in on Nia. I think that they're going to show that Tiffany used Nia to kind of like her body to pave her way into getting that Money in the Bank. It's kind of like the Tiffany's the Toni Storm and the Mariah May thing, right?
The difference here with that is that I think if Tiffany waits for Nia to be against just regular opponents and not a world-class champion opponent like Bayley, then we start running into the Tiffany acting like Damian Priest last year, where we were sitting there going, that guy's fucking burnt out and dead. You could walk out here, put your foot on him, and get a championship.
But I think, too, it's too soon for her to cash in yet because she still hasn't yet to get her case. And I think they're going to have her carry that case for a little bit.
I think you're right. And I do like the tension buildup of she sits there and she contemplates, and you see her holding it while she's watching Nia like struggle in the match.
Yes.
And she just keeps like,
yes.
And the question is going to be, however, is she going to be the babyface when she actually takes the championship, or is she going to be the heel?
She's going to be baby because I can see Nia threatening her. Don't you do it, and kind of pushing her around. You better not. You better, and bullying her. And finally, Tiffany has enough. Like, you know, fuck you, bitch. And when Nia's down, she goes and she cashes it in because they are cheering her as a babyface.
Yes.
So I think they're going to go that way. Nia's going to be, because you just like, what was it last week when Bayley was down, or was it last week or the week before when Bayley was down and Tiffany was going to cash in, and Nia kind of got in her face like, what are you doing? And Tiffany kind of like backed down. So I think they're going to do more of that. I think they're going to do more. Nia's going to bully her like, you better not. You better not. You know what I'm saying?
I like that concept. So
Tiffany finally gets tired of it. Like, you know what?
Yeah, kind of like a Virgil.
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm tired of you treating me like shit. You know what? You're beat down. Here I come.
Or Diesel, actually.
Yeah.
Like that's how Diesel was with Shawn Michaels sitting there and being like, the big man can't even sit there and fight. And he'd be like,
yeah.
All right. So we're both cool with Nia Jax beating Bayley. That's an interesting one. World Heavyweight Championship match: Damian Priest versus Gunther, the King of the Ring.
I think because Gunther is coming out so hard and calling him trash and doing all this stuff and making fun of him, I almost think
Damian Priest sneaks out a win.
Yes, and then they might have a rematch, and then Gunther beats him then. But I'm thinking Damian walks away.
He almost needs to.
Yeah.
Unless he gets screwed.
But and again, yeah, unless he gets screwed. But again, like I always say, I'm gonna wait till tonight. Is tonight the last? Tonight's the last one. I want to see my 5-year-old me if Gunther beats him down. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Gunther actually has a match tonight.
Yeah. So yeah.
So
I think I almost think I'm going with Damian this time.
Yeah, the next one is the Bash in Berlin.
Yeah.
Like middle of the way through August. So it's a good possibility that they hold it off and then he gets a rematch. Maybe it's because like Judgment Day helps Damian win, which makes Damian feel like he looked weak, so he gives Gunther maybe they actually kick him out of the Judgment Day at Bash at Berlin.
That makes me change my. That really cements something in the first match we talked, the Intercontinental match. What if Dragunov does win, and at Bash at Berlin we get
Kaiser? What's interesting?
I forgot about Bash.
Well, again, we don't know if Dragunov's in that match. That would be a tonight thing, and I don't want to look up spoilers yet.
No. Or even if well, that'd be too quick for Braun to win it.
I could see Kaiser getting into that match, even if it's like I could see Sammy getting knocked out by Kaiser or something, and then because Sammy's supposed to get a rematch, but I could see Sammy not getting the rematch and Kaiser getting himself into that match, so that way at Bash at Berlin you've got the German oppressor sitting there in that match.
So Damian, I'm going with Damian.
So it's an interesting one. The question is if he does get past Gunther, does Gunther beat him at Bash at Berlin? And I like as soon as a guy loses to him the first time, you like what's going to change it the second time? And so it's
like I said, if he loses because of Judgment Day, I mean he can. That is a good.
That's a fair way to get the belt off of him. But
because Damian he's only had one title defense.
Two. It is Seth and Jey Uso.
Or was it Drew?
No, Jey Uso.
It's hard to say.
Oh, and Drew.
So that's 3. He's won.
Yeah.
So I mean, kind of build him up a little bit. I'd say he can keep this and lose it at the Berlin to Gunther.
Yeah, I almost see the Judgment Day helping him win at SummerSlam, and him once again being part of that like feud of the internal struggle of Judgment Day being I told you guys I didn't want your help. I told you I need to do this myself.
The same thing is that they have that court thing, right? And they do jump mommy or whatever. He I want anything to do with that, right? So they kind of like that tension builds more than at Bash at Berlin. They kick him out.
I don't think he would want nothing to do with it.
Well, not nothing, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know. Somehow he,
I could see him being like, y'all work on this yourself, and he just leaves.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And when I say nothing to do with it, he walks out when they.
Or he's hurt on Monday night, so he's not even present for when mommy gets kicked out.
That could be too. I can see that.
So
because he's fighting Gunther,
yeah, exactly. Like they're gonna show his roast beef chest by the end of the match.
Okay.
All right.
So I say Damian. We both agree Damian keeps it.
I think so. I think you talked me into it.
Yeah.
Undisputed WWE Championship: Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. By the way, not even the last match that they're putting on here.
I was about to say there's another match I thought would be put on for that, but
well, I do think that the other match is going to actually be the first match of the week.
Okay, all right.
But it is probably the biggest one to talk about.
I'm being unpopular at this one. I think Solo beats him.
I don't. I think Cody sneaks out a victory and then gets beat down by the Bloodline, and then Roman shows up And I'm not even saying Roman actually confronts Solo, but the reason, like physically, but I think he points at him, keeps him off of him, whatever. And specifically because on SmackDown this week,
He keeps calling him out.
he called him out, which means he's got to be coming back. Like you wouldn't be doing that 2 weeks and a week before SummerSlam if you weren't bringing him back. But you don't want them to bring him back yet.
The more I think about it,
it's happening.
You kind of convinced me about The Rock coming back and kind of having something to do with Cody losing that belt.
Well, so the thing I heard. The thing I heard today was
that TikTok from that dude.
Yeah, but I mean that was nothing new. Yeah. That was stuff that you and I have already discussed.
I read today The Rock has finished. Yeah, he's finished filming that movie, so his obligation.
His obligation is. I mean,
done.
I mean, we could have where. If you smell, and then The Rock comes running down, you think he's going to help Cody, and he grabs his belt and just starts whipping Cody, and then Roman's music hits, and then Roman comes down and he's like, I'm in charge here, and then you see like he gets speared by the werewolf.
But you don't see Solo winning.
I think Cody gets out with a victory. The biggest problem we run into here is that Solo isn't the most credible world champion.
But we also run into the problem too, and I talked about it I kind of touched on it last week. Solo is supposed to be in charge, but he's not even the star of that group. So I think
well, when The Rock comes back, he's not even going to be number 2 in that group.
Yeah,
Right
now the werewolf Jacob Fatu is running roughshod, and he's the.
Did you see how he got his head planted in a DDT last week and yet still won the match because the other guy was knocked out from it? Like him and the Tongans aren't clean in the ring. Like Jacob's cool to watch, but he's not clean in the ring.
I don't know if he's not clean. I don't think he is. Like we talked about that WWE style.
Yeah.
Because that's his independence and everything. Where else he's been, that's his style, right? So WWE is more.
Well, but that's why they kept them off TV so long, was to get them prepared.
Yeah, but and you can't expect everything to be. Even people who are WWE still fuck up.
Nia Jax.
Yeah, it's still
another Tongan.
They still mess up and make mistakes, right? So,
folks, if you're in the audience, go ahead and say hi. It seems like we got quite a few people out there, so say hello.
I say Solo, man. Solo needs it. Now he doesn't keep it.
He needs it, but it's Cody needs it right now.
Cody's over like Rover, dude.
He is, but the belt won't be anymore if he loses it.
I'm not saying keep it on Solo. They're going to put it back on Cody, or they'll put it on.
So,
because I don't think Roman's coming back just because he'll get it.
So I heard a theory today, not an Austin theory, but a theory.
Okay.
What if they brought back The Rock to beat Cody?
But neither one of them need the belt.
But hold on. And then The Rock, because, like when The Rock left, he wanted to hold that belt one last time in the "this is awkward" moment, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And he held the belt, he looked at it, and then he gave it back. But then he also gave that gift, which we think is supposed to be the Rolex watch that Dusty Rhodes had to sell so that Cody Rhodes could start his acting career. What if The Rock sits there and says, as the job of the bloodline was to tear you down, and now it's time to go up against the final boss again, and the final boss is going to beat you at maybe Survivor Series.
Okay.
so that way Cody has to work his way. And I'm not saying he's going to win the Royal Rumble again. I do not think he's going to do that. But I could totally see an elimination chamber where it's Cody versus Solo versus Tonga versus Tama versus Werewolf. And maybe there's someone like Sami Zayn in there to help Cody Rhodes with the 6 people so that he gets the world title match back against The Rock at WrestleMania. Like, could you imagine it's Cody Rhodes versus all of the bloodline?
Yeah.
You know?
I think Solo's winning.
I'm gonna go with Cody just because I feel like there's too many titles being changed here, and I don't think I think that the title is already going to get overshadowed by at least a Roman Reigns return, if not a Rock return.
Okay.
So that's how I'm gonna. So we disagree on one match so far.
All right.
But now we have what I guess Bleacher Report thinks is the main event. Which, by the way, I am a firm believer of the best built story being the final match of a pay-per-view.
And this is the best built story.
But that's why I think it's going to go on first. Because I could actually see that. Okay. So can I tell you something about what happened tonight?
All right, because I'm going to go back and watch it anyway.
If your DVR actually recorded sci-fi.
It did. I have YouTube TV, so it's whatever. It just says, because I checked it.
So yeah, okay.
If it says Raw, whatever channel Raw's on.
Because I turned on my TV, I went to TiVo, and TiVo was like, no, it's not recording. And I was like, what the fuck? So I turned it on like 6 minutes later, whatever. CM Punk was in the ring with Seth Rollins. Drew McIntyre walks down to the ring. So 9 minutes in, they haven't started shit, right?
Right.
Okay. So then Seth Rollins, by the way, is wearing a puffy referee shirt. And it is awful looking. I mean, awful. But anyways.
Now you got me paranoid. Nope. Funny not Raw. See?
Okay.
Thank God.
Okay. So anyways, Seth Rollins says to them, he flat out says this. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
He goes, if you guys go outside the ring, maybe I'll count to 10. Maybe I'll count to 20. Maybe I just won't count. So I could see
he's going to let it go. Anything goes.
I could see this match being something where all 3 of them are going around Cleveland Stadium for like 2 hours.
2 hours.
You know, like all of a sudden you see them both knocked out in the bathroom,
right.
And then all of a sudden they move it to somewhere else and they're in a skybox. You know, but I could see them just random points throughout the night,
right.
And Seth Rollins being like, "I'm not counting yet," you know, like I'm gonna wear you both down. But yeah, that goddamn puffy shirt, man.
So who wins? Who's he counting out? It's got to be Punk.
I think Punk has to win this,
yeah.
but at the same time, I could see them both being out and Seth counting them both like last man standing style, and they both get counted.
Or I could see him doing a fast count. That'd be awesome.
I don't see him doing that because Seth right now is babyface, so I see him trying to stay babyface as long as he can throughout the match. I do see him getting knocked out during the match though, which I think will be hilarious because he's the one guy that kicks out of every fucking thing. So I do see him getting knocked out, another referee having to make the count.
So you don't see him being like taking a cheap shot on both of them?
Oh, he will, because obviously this match will have those classic tropes of you know, one guy shoves him, then all of a sudden
referee.
Then all of a sudden when he goes to actually like super kick Punk because Punk pushes him, he's gonna super kick Drew,
yeah.
And then Drew's gonna get up and he's gonna be like, and then Drew's gonna sit there and Claymore kick. You know, he's gonna go to Claymore kick Punk and he's gonna Claymore kick Seth, and they're gonna have all the calamity is going to ensue here. There aren't many times where I'm okay with. What are you doing down there?
I'm just kicking your box.
Why?
I don't know.
The box is there every week. It didn't do anything to you.
It aggravates
Anyways, I could see this match as long as it is a brutal,
Oh, it's going to be.
like calamity filled, like at some point one of them's on one of the forklifts. I don't care. Like anything, like as long as it gets crazy, I think it's okay to be a no contest.
And they're going to knock somebody out with a bag full of styrofoam popcorn.
I would love it. That was real popcorn.
No,
That's
no,
why,
I'm talking about Mick
that's why,
Foley.
yeah, that was real popcorn.
Oh.
That's why I knocked. That's why it hurt so much,
Oh,
because it had kernels in it.
Oh,
if it was styrofoam,
oh, I got you.
you know.
Sound effects.
Yeah, he always did those sound
Him
effects.
and Mark Briscoe. Hutja, hutja, hutja. What is wrong with you? Yeah, Troy.
Yeah. It's kind of like Jeff Hardy will be out the ring and there's no one in the audience. Remember that? He's like, and there's
Like Jeff.
it's like Jeff. We know you're normally on something,
Yeah.
but dude, there's nobody here. Or when Steve Austin said, "Give me a hell yeah," and there was nobody in the audience on 316 day.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, he knew people were home going, hell yeah.
but Byron Saxton's like, "Hell yeah," and he gave him a stunner for it.
I forgot about that.
And Byron later on went on to go say that he kicked him in the nuts when he did it.
Oh, Stone Cold was like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
sometimes those joints are too tight. He's like, I couldn't get my leg up. I'm trying to kick you in the stomach. Some people call it in the jewels.
Well, I mean, he said that he kicked Vince McMahon in the balls. He doesn't have
So many times,
yeah. But they were grapefruit, so I mean, they were hard to miss. So all right, Tino, who wins this match?
I say Punk.
I think well, you know what?
You're going with Drew.
Well, I already said that I really think it's going to be a no contest,
Mhm.
but I'm going to go with Drew. And I bet you're wondering why.
Mm-hmm. Because Punk has cost him so much.
No. Because I think it's time to see if Punk's actually on Team WWE.
See if he'll take the loss.
So far, everything has been smelling like roses in this relationship. Everything.
So they're going to ask him to lose, see if he loses his mind.
But I think the way the story's played out, he still smells like roses, even if he loses. So, whereas Drew has won and lost at Mania, he lost again against Damian Priest, so he lost the Money in the Bank. Lost to Seth, I don't know how many times. Lost to Roman, I don't know how many times. But the whole Punk thing has been like, it's almost a redemption story, and I think Punk comes out looking like a better babyface if he loses the match.
Yeah, I can see that. You
know, the crowd is going to be cheering on Punk even when he gets up, as long as it's a good match and he doesn't get hurt.
I can see that.
So I am going against my gut here, and we now have two matches where we're disagreeing. So I went Cody and I went Punk, and you went Drew and you went Solo.
No, I went Punk and Solo.
I'm going
going
Drew.
Drew.
I'm going
Yeah.
Drew, right. See, I tried to sneak in that I still
I
went
know.
Punk.
I saw you.
But
I got you.
But mostly I still think that the match is going to end up being a no decision.
I can see that happening too, yeah.
I in fact, more than anything, I see Seth laying them both out and then covering them both and pinning them and saying that the winner of the match is Seth Rollins.
And Stone Cold did that one time.
He did.
Yeah.
He did when he faced
It was Kane and Undertaker.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think it was not SummerSlam. It was in between King of the Ring and SummerSlam.
Yeah.
No Way Out.
Something.
Yeah. But yeah, and it was the one where it was like, and there better not be any craziness or I'm gonna fire you and blah blah.
Yeah.
And that's when he fired Steve Austin. Yeah.
Because he was up in the boxes, in the wheelchair, up in the skybox. And the neck brace in the wheelchair. You're fired.
So okay. So do we want to run them down one more time real quick? What we said?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So Braun Breaker, maybe Ilya Dragunov and Sami Zayn.
So if Ilya's in it, Ilya's winning. If it's not, it's going to be Braun.
Correct. That and we both agreed. Logan Paul versus LA Knight.
LA Knight.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Liv
Liv
Morgan. Okay. Bailey versus Nia Jax.
Nia.
Nia Jax. So that's 3 out of 4 championship matches already. We've agreed on all 4, but 3 championship changes.
Yep.
Damian Priest versus Gunther. We're both going Damian Priest.
Yes.
Okay. Cody Rhodes versus Solo. You said Solo, so you're saying a 4th title change. I'm saying 3 title changes because I'm sticking with Cody.
Yep.
And then Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. I'm taking Drew. You're taking CM Punk.
Yes.
And I'm actually taking the schmaz, and I'm taking Seth Rollins.
Okay.
Really. All right. What a show. We're at 10-10.
No, I'm still going to see another. When does Paul Heyman come back? Does he come back with Roman?
Well, you know, last night was his A&E biography, and I didn't watch it yet.
Oh shit! I didn't even know.
Yeah, so they don't do things like that on purpose or on accident.
Yeah.
You know, like everything is set up. If Roman comes back, Paul Heyman's going to be walking down with him. Although
I can see them.
Actually, I see him being in a wheelchair.
But I can see whenever before Roman comes out, you hear "ladies and gentlemen," and the crowd will lose their fucking minds. If he comes out first talking shit and he goes, "and my tribal chief," and then Roman Reigns' music hits.
So all right, I'm gonna.
It's kind of like when Paul Bearer came out.
I'm-
All of a sudden, he came out.
I'm gonna add a little caveat to that.
Okay.
I could see him in the wheelchair,
You still want that wheelchair?
and I could see Jimmy Uso be the one that actually wheels him out onto the stage,
Oh.
and then he goes, and then he does and I brought someone with me. His name is, and he looks at Jimmy, and then he turns back and he goes, my tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And because Roman's music hitting is, I don't think it's going to do the same thing that some of these, because it doesn't have that boom.
So, yeah,
you know?
It's so slow.
Yeah. But
like if he still used the shield, that'd be awesome. That done it without that era echo, just that done it. You know that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but I'm
saying that music would be more.
But I could see him being introduced with brand new babyface music.
Yes.
Like it's something that just screams, "I'm gonna hurt you." You know, like I.
It'd be funny if it's just sort of acknowledge me, and then some kind of beat hits.
Although with Solo saying "acknowledge me" now,
but Roman was the original, and he come up with all you hear is. Because it's different.
Acknowledge me.
It's different when Solo says it. When Roman he hits that acknowledge me, you know, and then all of a sudden because they're doing it with all the people. It's TV time, and Chelsea Green.
Well,
they're doing all that.
That's what's her face, the ring announcer.
Yeah, I still like it. I still like it.
Oh yeah, and Maxine Dupree.
Yeah. But if you hear all of a sudden you hear acknowledge me, and like you said, new music, something that kind of like you like, just like Jimmy's new music, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
in your city, you know what I'm saying?
It's kind of like when you like you watch that YouTube thing that they did about WrestleMania, right? With The Rock and
the one that did, yeah,
the one where now there's all those memes of The Rock sitting there going, and that's when I told Punk to have Yes. That's when I told him to have a pipe bomb.
I watched it while I was at the beach. I forgot to tell you.
There's so many good memes like
you sent them to me.
There was I saw another one today and had like 6 more, and it was like that's when I told Mickey James to sit there and do this, and it was like what? like the one I really liked was when I was 12 years old and I was sitting with my dad and Vince McMahon, and Vince said, "I'm thinking about coming up with this wrestle extravaganza," and I said, "How about WrestleMania?" And that's how it happened. Stupid.
Yes, we're coming out with new music.
So So yes, and what I was trying to say there was that when The Rock, when they showed him like talking about like, hey, now that I'm this evil villain, let's have like the red eyes and the on the Brahma bull, and let's have like the lightning actually hitting the eyes, and they changed it every week.
Yeah.
And I loved how Triple H is sitting there going, yeah, these guys put it together in like 2 hours for you, man. Like, so I could totally see where Roman backstage, like for weeks, has probably been sending back and forth ideas of what if we do this, what do we like. When he got the tribal chief music, we felt it was like 6 months late.
Yeah.
So hopefully when he comes back, because I mean he's full blown babyface already, and he's not even back yet.
People are cheering, we want Roman.
So I think that when we do get that, if they haven't already made the decision,
well, I mean, when Jay came out, they had his new music. So I mean, I think when they I don't say repackage because that's not, but when they,
I mean, it's a repackaging, but it's not a gimmick change.
Yeah.
It's enhancing the gimmick.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're doing with Jimmy Uso. Like
because his new music was trash. I didn't like it.
Well, his new music was trash, and all he was the opposite of Jay's gimmick.
Yes.
He was no Yeet versus Yeet, and it's like, and what's funny is he wasn't even the best one at saying no Yeet. Roman still was when he was like, no Yeet.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be cool to see.
So I am still firm on the idea of Roman returning at SummerSlam. I could also still see The Rock showing back up at SummerSlam as well. Tino, another thing happened this week. Actually, two things actually happened. Not PLE. I guess Battle of the Belts kind of not a PLE, but I guess it is one of their premium live events. It's just not a pay-per-view, right?
I fell asleep trying to watch it today, so I haven't watched it yet. But
well, the Ring of Honor 6-man tag titles or trios belts or whatever now that they've put them back on people, which I thought they got rid of those because they combined them and they had
to do something to Von Erichs.
So the Von Erichs
and
Dustin Runnels,
Dustin Rhodes,
are the new ROH trios tag champions,
and Guevara's back.
And Sammy Guevara showing that he's really one of those pillars of AEW after 5 months of being suspended.
I read that they're trying to kind of ease him back in because he fucking hurt Jeff Hardy, so they're trying, and people are still pissed about it. So
he's now hurt both Hardys, by the way.
Yeah, but I think Jeff Hardy's the one he got suspended for.
Oh, totally.
And so I read that's what that's why they put him there. They're going to eventually bring him back to AEW, but they're going to let him kind of.
Did you also hear that they now call Ring of Honor AEW ROH?
Or kind of like WWE, ZCW, or whatever they did with WWE.
Well, when it was ECW, WWE just called it ECW. They didn't call it WWE ECW. We called it WWE ECW because we were basically calling it ECW, not even light. It was like ECW Zero Sugar. That's really what there was some stuff that we were okay with, like CM Punk or Christian being part of it, Jerry Lynn when he ended up coming in and randomly winning the ECW championship, but Zero Sugar. Just 1 calorie.
Well, I think too, because they're trying to. I think what they're eventually going to do, which will be a terrible idea because they already got so many talents that they don't use. They're calling it AEW ROH, so they can. So ROH will be. I won't say no more, but you know what I'm saying. They'll be able to but it doesn't make sense because they're already bringing people from ROH to AEW, and when they come on the Collision or Dynamite, they're saying they're acknowledging that they've been an ROH and doing all this stuff. So I don't understand why they call it AEW ROH.
So the idea of calling it I think it's AEW's ROH, like with an apostrophe, is because the AEW brand at this point is the second most popular wrestling brand in the world, right? So saying that, I guess they're finally admitting that it's like their NXT.
Okay.
And nobody's actually said that part, but Tony Khan did say that the AEW brand has more name recognition. So adding that to it is one of those things where they. Yeah, you heard.
Wait, tell me. So ROH has been around more and has more people known. AEW's more known than ROH. The fuck is wrong?
Remember, Adam Copeland, former WWE 8-time world champion, has had the best run of his entire career in AEW. Deep breath. You'll get through it.
The dumb shit that comes out of this man's mouth.
The dumb shit that comes out on his TV program.
AEW is more known than ROH.
At this point, with advertisers and stuff, it probably is. But let me preface. There's a band in the world named Oasis, right? Oasis one time said that they're more popular than Jesus. The only thing I can assume there is that they looked at how few people were on the earth when Jesus was alive, and they have more fans than when Jesus was alive. That's the only way that statement works.
That the Rose, he's the second most popular entertainer in the world. Baby.
That's what I'm saying, Daddy. You got to look at it like, what, it's Steiner math.
Oh my God.
I saw a bumper sticker the other day that said, I think it said Steiner and Steiner, and then it said, there's 143% chance of winning the election.
I want that bumper sticker. I want that bumper sticker. My favorite though is Sid Vicious. I am half the man that you are, and I have half the brain that you do. Like,
I remember the time that Lex Luger was trying to argue, and he tried to take his shirt off, and his shirt wouldn't come off. Yeah, I remember all those too.
So
Shockmaster
falling to the wall.
Yeah, Shockmaster. Oh, poor Fred. So Sammy Guevara came back. Dustin Rhodes has a title in AEW. Maybe that's just to keep him there a little bit longer. His contract's apparently up in a couple months.
They're trying to keep him from going with his brother.
We already heard The Rock is basically ready to put him in the Hall of Fame. Like,
Dustin?
Yeah, when he wants to go. He deserves it except it's funny because, like, in WWE, he goes in as Gold Dust.
Yeah, he won't go in. Like
which by the way, is
he might. Which by the way, he was a natural.
Yeah, but his best character ever is Gold Dust.
Yeah. 7.
That Uncle Fester looking motherfucker. Remember when he just started wiping the shit off his.
Uncle Fester and Gold Dust had a baby.
Uncle Fester and Vince Russo had a baby.
Oh God!
My God, that was a horrible guy. I'm so glad he came out on camera and just
shit on it.
And just shit on it, like because they could do that in WCW. AEW this week did Blood and Guts. They do it once a year. It was bloody.
Before we get to Blood and Guts, I want to say that my favorite part of this whole show,
Dynamite.
Okay. I think it was Dynamite. Mariah May was in the ring talking shit, and they did the whole Tony Storm's music, and then the people were cheering, and then the music cut off, and Mariah's laughing. So you think, oh shit, Mariah did that on purpose, and then somebody jumps in the ring behind her, like it was like crew, and she took that thing, and I don't know, is she doing something with it? Her hair looked different. Tony Storm, did she cut it? I'm trying to figure. She looked different.
It wasn't wavy.
It was just.
It was like wet.
I liked it.
I mean,
I liked it. That was a good look.
Yeah, but it doesn't go with that character of the 50s movie, which I think we're out of now.
Well, when she wrestled, was it Collision? She came out in all white and still had the hair the same way. So I think she's gone away from because now she's not in all black anymore. I'm like, I wonder now if because she's always been face, but now she's instead of wearing all black.
She wasn't baby face.
But now she's wearing all white. So I'm wondering if that's, symbolic.
Yes. That is definitely symbolic. It's a new Tony Storm. Speaking of new characters in AEW, Mercedes Moné has got her Diesel.
What's her name from NWA? Which I've been
Tennille?
watching her. No, it's not Tennille. It's
Camille.
She's married to Charlotte's ex-husband, or she was.
Charlotte's ex-husband?
He was, God, what's his name?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but yeah, so she
was former NWA Women's World Champion,
and she is
Diesel.
Fucking
Diesel.
The shit.
Yeah. And yet she has been under AEW contract. You ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Since February.
Tom Latimer, that's who it was.
Since February.
So why is she just now coming out?
Probably, if you want me to be honest, probably because Mercedes Moné, who was supposed to have her as her Diesel at the beginning, didn't show up until March and then didn't wrestle until June.
Yeah. The reason why I want to say her husband, Tom Latimer, because he was also the WWE territory as a member of the Ascension. You remember that tag team?
I do.
Yep, he was one of the Ascension.
That was Charlotte's husband?
Yep. And then she divorced him, and then now he's married to Camille. He was married to her.
Well, he upgraded.
2013 to 2015.
Although, honestly, Camille versus Charlotte would be a fucking awesome match.
He was Bram in, I remember Bram in TNA.
I think so.
That's him. And then now he's Tom Latimer. He's using his real name in NWA. But yep. Good. And he was part of the Ascension. So I'm wondering.
So.
Because Bram was with the manager of SmackDown. What's the dude? Nick Aldis. Nick
Aldis?
They were tag team.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in TNA.
Man, it's so crazy to think that Nick Aldis is only like 37 years old, and yet he's not wrestling at this point.
He's got Mickey James at home. That's how he's keeping in shape.
Yeah, but his contract though allows for wrestling. They just don't want to use it for it right now.
I don't know.
No, he said he'd wrestle.
I'm wondering if I think there's going to be a time when he's going to have to. You know what I mean? I think right now.
I think that he's. I could see where Braun Breaker gets transferred over to SmackDown and gets in his face like he gets in Scrap Daddy's face, and Nick Aldis just won't have it. Like I could see that, you know. What was Nick Aldis's like gimmick in the NWA?
Oh, he's just a world's champion.
No, but it was like your country's something or. And I went and I laughed at him at WrestleCade the one year because Jason wanted a picture with Mickey James.
Right.
So of course they're sitting next to each other. So I'm talking to Nick Aldis about his nutrition brands and everything that he's got that they're doing. And I said, but aren't you like the?
He was Magnus.
No, yeah.
Oh, what was it?
He called himself something specific, and I maybe. Chris Barrett just said the British Empire was him and Tom Latimer. But no. He damn it. He was.
I'm looking. Just keep going.
No, it's okay. But I looked at him and I said, so are you my country's champion or are you your country's champion? Because you're in the U.S. for the National Wrestling Alliance, but yet you obviously have an accent from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and he goes, okay, smartass.
Yep.
And I was like, yep. I was like, thanks, Nick. I really appreciate that.
Yep.
He goes, it's all good. I'm like, cool. Because again, I talked to him about his nutritional products and everything for a while, so he was okay with it. But let's talk about blood and guts.
All right.
I said that I didn't think that it really had any ramifications for what's coming up at All In. And you said, bitch, did you see who's in the match?
Yes, because you've got the Young Bucks and
Hangman.
No, Bowens and because they are fighting each other at that paper because they're going after the tag team.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to remember who else was in there.
Swerve.
And there was Swerve and
Mark Briscoe.
No, okay, so I'm trying to. So you had the Young Bucks and the Acclaim, Swerve and possibly Heyman went for Swerve. So I think that's gonna. And then who has that belt over here?
Briscoe.
No.
Okada.
Scapegoat, Darby Allin. So you've got, they matched it up to where.
And then Mark Briscoe and Okada.
Yeah, so they matched it up to where they have, they do have feuds across the teams.
I was impressed that what I thought and expected to happen didn't happen.
What'd you think?
I expected the Elite to win.
It caught me off guard that the Young Bucks cared for somebody other than themselves, because it almost made me think when I guess whoever was Nick or Matt, whoever was chained, and Darby was getting ready to hit him with that chair, and he's like, "That's enough." And it was almost like they were like you're off script. That's enough. Stop.
Jack Perry.
They would hit Jack Perry, but who said we quit? It was one of the Young Bucks. One of the Young Bucks was like looking at Darby. You all right?
Yeah, Fubar just messaged me.
One of the Young Bucks was like, as Darby was about to hit him, he's like, "You better quit." And the look on his face, it was kind of like it wasn't like you're going too far. No, that's enough. That's enough. We quit. It wasn't. It was kind of like he cared for somebody else, but it was also. It just seemed surreal. Like he was like, "Really, the fuck are you doing? It's not worth it." No. I quit. So I'm one. It kind of. To me, and I know it wasn't. I know it was scripted, but the way they played it out, the Young Bucks giving up or quitting because they cared about somebody. You know what I mean?
Well, except
because Scapegoat wasn't going to quit. He was like, "Hit me, bitch."
Well, he also said, "Set me on fire."
Yeah, that's what it was. He was going to set him on fire.
Yeah.
And the Young Bucks like, "You're going too far." No.
And I love how they had that Food Lion law.
Yeah.
Not just like you would figure if it was Darby Allin, he'd pull out a fucking Zippo and he'd toss it at somebody. You know what I mean? Because it's not gonna.
I was waiting for him to break out the flamethrower from under the ring like he had in the pay-per-view.
So while I get where you're coming from, here's how I'm looking at it. The Jacksons are EVPs.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to think about how TNT thinks about it, or TBS thinks about it, not necessarily about that we care about somebody, but we can't set a live person on fire on live television.
Got it.
So you're that crazy, we have to stop, right?
Yes.
And to me, that's the heel way of going, and I could totally see them this Wednesday night coming out and being like, "Did you really think that we were going to let someone get set on fire and have standards and practices shut our show down?"
Okay.
Like, that's how I would do it. And if you're listening, Tony Khan, yeah, when that happens, guys, but like, so after Dynamite on Wednesday nights, Sirius has a show. Well, it's immediately following the show. Okay. But while they're doing the overrun, Bully Ray is doing commentary of the show. And he sat there and he goes, "Oh, you guys fucked up bad." And, he was like, "This match is great. Everybody's bleeding. Everybody this, but you guys fucked up bad." And of course, I'm sitting there driving my car back from trivia that night, and I'm like, "What the fuck's he talking about? They fucked up bad." And he goes, "You don't ever threaten to set something on fire and not set it on fire in a wrestling match." And they didn't even set the table on fire. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, did we really want to see Jack Perry with all that hair literally become Deadpool? Because, that's what he would have looked like afterward. Because he doesn't wear a shirt. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have anything protecting him. You know, like I get that sometimes you go, okay, the guy's not wearing a shirt. We're going to put him through the table. Hopefully they use the right kind of lighter fluid that goes out after you hit the, after your wet body does that. But I kind of see what he's saying.
Wow.
Because it's kind of like, oh, we set the two tables up and then nobody goes to, like, somebody always goes through the two tables when you set it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that, I could totally see their massive fan base being like, oh, well, we just want to protect it. I could also see a lot of the people that were watching going, oh shit, what are they going to do with this? Sit there and go, oh, that was lackluster. And I'm not saying that as someone who dislikes AEW's product or anything. I'm literally saying it as someone who watches the product and goes, when Edge set the table on fire, or when Lita set the table on fire, Mick Foley went through it and Edge went through it, and Edge wasn't wearing a shirt. So like Edge took a beating that night. And you do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes taking that fire on the back the one time that was just completely unnecessary and whatever. And it is unnecessary. So the fact that they didn't allow it is great, but I think that they can still save face as the heels by sitting there and saying, oh, you all wanted it, but we're not that kind of company and we're not going to allow that. And that's why we said we quit. And it was just so that we could go home that night without giving you what you thought you deserved. As well as you think that our sponsors would allow it and this and that. Right. So I'm cool with all that.
Okay.
Yeah. So when is that All-In pay-per-view?
So the end of...
It's coming up. I think it's middle of August. Because don't they have two like a week apart?
Is that the All-In? Is that the one in London?
All-In is in London, and then there's All Out, probably in Chicago or Vegas. Double or Nothing is always in Vegas. Never mind.
So All In, AEW All-In.
Yeah, Wembley.
AEW. Come on, E. AEW. My thumbs all too fat for this thing. All In Wembley Stadium. 2024.
August 25th. Oh, it is at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And it says it's at noon.
Because
it's in London, yeah. So, Tino, I really don't have anything else. I don't think.
Nope.
You know what show I've been watching though?
No.
I've been I'm not even going to say rewatching because I don't know if I ever watched all of it through before. I'm watching the X-Files.
I've never watched that show.
It will blow you away with how many actors you're going to recognize. I watched an episode today. It had Jack Black in it.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Watched an episode. It had Peter Boyle in it. Apparently an episode's coming up that has Ryan Reynolds in it that I have not seen yet. Apparently, they did a revival series for a couple seasons, which actually was really good. There were some really good episodes in there that the series runs this thing, like the first season is just like random situations, but yet that there's like a plot coming for the overall thing where it's like, oh, the reason why Mulder is doing this is because his sister was abducted when he was little and whatever. And then the second season, like at the beginning, they abduct Scully, and then all of a sudden they get Scully back, and then there's like, all this stuff of Mulder's trying to figure out why they killed his dad, and all. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, right? But it's procedural, so it's almost like SVU or whatever, except it's always some supernatural, crazy, weird shit.
Right.
So like an episode that I just watched was all about how this guy could actually like psychically figure out how you were going to die.
I don't know that.
Well, so Mulder says, so tell me how I die.
No.
And he looks at him and he goes, no, right? Like I'm not going to tell you. But then Scully says, I'm ready to hear how I die. And he's like, you don't. And then she goes, well, what happens? And he goes, at some point you and I are in bed together. And it's this really old guy, right? He's like, at some point you and I are in bed together and we have this really heartfelt moment. And at the end of the episode, he's dead in the bed. And she grabs his hand and she's got a tear that comes down. So they have that really heartfelt moment of them being in bed together because she's like leaning into the bed. But that's why she doesn't die when she goes, well, how do I die? He can't see her death because it's after his death.
So that means then what? But apparently the other one dies after
So
he
Mulder
dies.
was supposed to die, but Scully ends up shooting the guy that's supposed to kill him. So boom, it changes everything.
Oh, God, I'm confused for a second.
Yeah, no,
I'm not gonna watch the show, so.
Oh, dude, so obviously I work at home and I need some background noise. So like half the time I'm not even really watching the episodes or whatever.
My background noise is Almost Got Away with It.
Almost Got Away with It?
You've never seen that show?
No.
Oh God, it's about how it's
how many seasons of that are there? Like 25?
It's like 6. It's about like how people, on the run and how they, what they do on the run and how they get caught. It's like Almost Got Away with It, but no, you got caught. You go back to jail.
See, I hate shows like that.
I'm a true crime grumpy, so I'm watching I got like Snap going in the background, or
dude,
or the Southern Fried Murders and stuff like that.
There was one on HBO or on Max that was basically like it was.
That's all I watched everything on.
The Texas.
Yep.
The Texas football one where like everything is like something that happened in Texas about the like high school football where like all these people end up dying like.
Like Friday Night Lights. It was Friday Night Lights or something on Friday night. Yeah, Friday Night Murder or.
Yeah, it was like Murders on Friday nights.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah,
I watched all that too.
And like I'm sitting there, I'm like so Lexi at Ruckus and I sit there and talk about that stuff all the time,
mm-hmm.
and she's always like, oh, you need to watch this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll watch it and I'll be like, that was creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Because it's like about a real person.
Yeah, they all are.
And I'm like, no, I don't like that. Like, give me the fake shit.
No.
Give me the fake shit where all of a sudden they can read people's minds and shit. I'm much happier with that stuff.
Almost Got Away with It, Web of Lies. I watch all that shit.
Okay.
Murder Comes to Town.
Oh! So this weekend was San Diego Comic-Con. So remember the show Dexter?
Yeah.
They've got a prequel series coming out.
Yeah, you told me about it.
Well, they also announced at San Diego Comic-Con they have a sequel series that happens after we thought Dexter died last season.
Oh, okay.
Called Dexter Resurrection.
So you'll be watching that one.
You're goddamn right I will. And then The Boys, because Carl Urban went on his Instagram and told everybody that it's going to be 2026 before we get the next The Boys season. So the final season. So I was like, well, at least we got Gen V. We'll get season 2 of that. They showed the trailer of that at Comic-Con. And then Jensen Ackles' character, who played Soldier Boy in it, because like the show's produced by the same guy that produced Supernatural. So of course they bring back all the Supernatural characters. So Jensen Ackles sits there and he goes, while he's on the panel, he's like, I was just given this message. Let me go ahead and read it off to everybody. Apparently, there's a new series coming out called The Boys. I forget exactly what the name of it is, but it's about Soldier Boy in the 1950s.
Oh.
So he's in it, and he was reading it off like he hadn't heard about it yet. And then he goes, and let me go ahead and tell you who the other person that's going to be in this is, and he points at the big screen up above him, and it's Stormfront, the one that Homelander had like the weird thing with in season 3. And apparently those two are going to be the two main characters.
Nice. Of
like this 1950s. They basically said like a noir style like superhero thing. So they're like they might be wearing like like long jackets and shit, like like so yeah. Comic-Con announced quite a bit of stuff, man. Unfortunately,
I don't see where because like I said, it's been a minute since I've watched The Boys. I keep meaning to go back and finish.
oh man, it's so good. But watch, if you're through season 3, make sure you watch Gen V before you watch season 4.
Oh shit! How many seasons is The Boys?
4 now.
Yeah, I stopped at season 3, episode 2, so I got a lot of catching up to do.
Well, that's good. That gives you some stuff to watch.
Yeah.
So I've been watching the X-Files. Been watching Evil.
Okay.
Are you caught up?
Yes.
It's so good this season. It's so good. And by the way, if you've never watched Evil, they are still trying to get it picked up by another streaming service. The main girl in it, she's sitting there like people are putting these video packages together of her being a badass in the show.
I'm sorry.
And she's actually offering people like what are you trying to get it?
Oh, it's about to fall. I didn't want to fall and make noise.
Okay, thanks. She's actually like saying that she'll send signed scripts to people if they have really cool looking videos that they do from it.
Who? We were talking about Heels. Is it Netflix is going to pick up the first 2 seasons and then they're hoping to get it? Or who did we say was picking up?
Yeah,
Heels?
that's actually it might be on now.
Heels?
Yeah, and last week when we had Tony on the show, it's funny we had another Tony on the show tonight, but when we had Tony Taloga Tudef on the show last week, he told me about Cobra Kai, so I watched all of that. I'm not going to say I was disappointed in the content of Cobra Kai. I was very disappointed that I got it all over with in like 2.5 hours because it was 5 episodes and it was half-hour episodes. So it was like, and it's over. And they still got another 5 episodes to do because they've got the actual competition. But yeah, this one, there's a really cool documentary video on the last season of Cobra Kai, or at least the last season, part 1 of Cobra Kai, where like the producers are all talking about how it was really nice to not have all the kids in conflict for a season. And I was like, yeah, but that meant we didn't get any karate in like malls and shit.
Yeah, they don't have Heels yet.
That's weird.
On Netflix?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Netflix.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So no Heels on Netflix yet. Maybe by the next time we talk to you, but it was supposed to be this month. So we'll have to ask our buddy Stephen Amell, like, what's up with that?
What's up, Stephen?
Yeah, I'll be like, Stephen, yo, while you're filming Suits LA, why don't you tell me like what's going on?
Suits LA.
I don't think it's going to be any good, and it's going to dude. Suits LA is going to be on NBC.
Oh God.
It's not even going to be on USA or Sci-Fi. It's going to be on NBC. Like
we'll see.
I'm going to watch it at least like first couple episodes, but I don't see him as like the type of person that could be like that Harvey Specter style.
We'll have to wait and see. Might be surprised.
Might be, because he was really season 2 of Heels was excellent.
I'm mad they left it off like that.
Well, that's because they thought they were going to get another season, and of course the reason why season 2 went off without anybody knowing that it was coming out was because, well, they had a writers and actors strike going on at the same time. But it's time to end the show.
Yes. Where we at?
Right at 2 hours.
Yeah. This is good though.
Yeah, it was a fun show. Obviously, buy the new book. Go to Amazon, search Rob Pochek. You can also read it on Kindle Unlimited if you have that. Tino will at some point give you his review of the book.
No. I found it.
Did Matthew read it?
Well, he was going to read it because I want to learn it, and he was like,
"It's got big writing in it too. Like it's a quick read."
Jesus, kids are just.
That's why it's only 64 pages.
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna write a 300-page novel about this thing.
So,
All right, folks. Tino, tell everybody how to reach you.
Reach me on the X, the Twitter. I'm gonna call it the Twitter. Fuck it. It's the Twitter.
Thank you, everybody.
Fan91. Insta and Snapchat. I am SC Tino. The TikTok. I am Tino Gray Music. You can reach us right here each and every week on the YouTube channel on the Pots and Pans Network. Give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe, buy our shit. We are also on Facebook, the Potsy and Tino Show. On Twitter, we are Potsy and Tino.
Yeah. Did you read all mine off or just
no?
Okay.
Because I can remember all yours.
Rob Pochak and Rob Potsy Pochak on Instagram, Pochak on Twitter, Rob Potsy Pochak on Twitch and on TikTok.
All right.
I believe that is everything. You can also go to keenspotshop.com to check out any of my comics that are available, or as it says there, buy my new book on Amazon. Just search Rob Pochak. It is called Are You Sure You Want to Make Comics?
That's too big for me now. I keep looking, it's like drooping, but okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start borrowing your Ozempic. Folks, with that, thank you so much. We love you each and every week, and we are glad to do the show. If you haven't seen it, go see Deadpool and Wolverine. It is excellent.
Please.
And if I'm going to be doing another episode to talk more about that movie, you guys will hear about it on my socials. With that, we are out of here. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.